Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. It is Wednesday. I'm leaving work and I'm off to pick up my comic books like a true comic fan. So what are we talking about today? Today, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about NeoExodus. I've been working on the new, what I'm calling the Ultimate Edition. It's very much, looking back, it's probably it's really the version I'd love to have done of NeoExodus, but I couldn't have done it at the time, because it didn't have the same artwork, but now it's everything's in place that I like, and visually where I'm happy with it. So I'm basically doing relayout on the pages and adding more content. Roughly, I'm looking to add like 15 to 30% more content to this one than the original one. So, like I said, if people, and plus if people, I wrote this on a post. The previous post before this video, you're gonna see on the blog. Read that one, explains it all in detail. But I just want to talk about looking at a project like NeoExodus that's already has kind of been done and is, I'd say, finished. How this update's going to affect people who are playing with it. And my theory has been, I never want to change an edition. Like people like to do, oh, it's the newest edition of such and such. I think when they do that, they disrupt the market in the bad way. Because it's like, hey, 4th edition is a prime example. I'll talk about 3.5 to 4 and then to 5. Or even better, I'll go to 3. When you first bought, when 3.0 came out, it was a big change. Everybody bought it, great. Then they jumped to 3.5. Okay, they made some updates to it, changed, that's great. Then they went a whole new system with number 4. Okay, you bought the stuff from that, you bought it, and now they're doing 5. And at some point I go to myself, okay, look, I bought the same game in various versions up to a certain point. And after this point, I'm not buying any more versions of the game that we have. I think that becomes a problem. I think people expect role-playing games to be like video games. Like, okay, oh, it's been out for 6-7 years. Well, okay, people are saying there's problems with the system. Okay, let's just scrap it and let's do another one. Let's do another edition. And if you've ever read a book, there's a book called The Law of Branding, and I can't think of who, Rice. It's R-E-I-S, Reese. I believe is the writer of it. One of the rules of laws of branding is line extension. And this kind of falls into line extension. When you see it all the time. You've got Colgate. Then you've got Colgate with baking soda, and then Colgate with peroxide, and Colgate, that's line extension. You take something and extend it out as far as you can, you kind of really don't get more people buying more stuff. You kind of weaken the brand as a whole. It's, I kind of believe this, and the best way I always describe this is like with hamburgers. You go to McDonald's, you're expecting to get a hamburger, decent price, cheeseburger, fries, soda, boom. But no. At McDonald's, they have all kinds of stuff that basically go away from their core competency. Let's do McCafe and let's do this other. It's like, dude, stick to burgers. You know who does burgers like that? I'm always appreciative. I'm always impressed and appreciative of the work. In-N-Out Burger. Now, a lot of you never ever heard of In-N-Out Burger. The guys in California, Nevada, where else? I think they're also in Washington or maybe even in Oregon. But I know In-N-Out because I read some articles about them. I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. When I got married to my wife, we flew to good Lord, Las Vegas, had a great time, and I just happened to say, oh, there's a In-N-Out Burger near our hotel. And I just talked to some of the local people there, said, hey, I've never had an In-N-Out Burger. Tell me a lot about it. Is it really that good? And everybody said the same thing. They raved about how good it was. I'm like, all right, let me check this thing out. They got a secret menu. They don't break away from their core competency. Their core competency is making hamburgers. And you know what? They make great hamburgers. They make great cheeseburgers. And, oh yeah, if you're ever near an In-N-Out Burger, I would suggest the double animal style. Thank you. That's what someone told me. I tried that out. I fell in love with it. It was like amazing. So remember, double animal style. Boom. When you start getting away from your core competence of what you do, your brand can fail. You can fail, and it can cause lots of problems. I think I think a lot of us do that just to do it. I think the problem that comes, and this is something I think a lot of people agree. As a fan of a role-playing game, you want more cool stuff. You always want more cool stuff because you just want cool stuff. On top of that, you don't want rules bloat. So you've got two forces that are diametrically opposed. I want tons of cool new stuff and no kind of rules bloat to go with it. It's like that's almost impossible to do. You can't have one without the other. So what happens is they make all this cool stuff. People notice their flaws in the cool stuff, or somebody has exploited it in a way that wasn't really cool, and that always happens. There's always a guy, there's always that one guy at your table who is just there to exploit the rules to make them look cool, and that's great. That's not the game I want to play in, but I get it. I know tons of guys like that. I don't see that exciting. I don't get it, but that's their choice. You know, if you want cool stuff, you're gonna get rules bloat because they're not independently separate. They're kind of linked together. You know, you wanted new classes. Well, you're going to do new classes. There are going to be new rules for these classes. And people kept saying, well, how much longer can this keep going and keep going? And then, for some odd reason, people think the answer is to, well, let's scrap it all and let's start again. I'm against that rule because I, as a person, I have a limited amount of finances. And I have this amount of money to spend on things I like. When someone tells me, the thing I just bought a couple of years ago, we're scrapping it all because the new thing's out, that doesn't really vibe well with me. Like for me, I had a game system. Yeah, we had a Wii. My wife and I bought a Wii. That tells you how old it was. Like six years ago when we first got married, we bought a Wii. It ran its course, it broke, we never bought anything else. I never played a lot of video games at home with an Xbox or Sega Genesis. I was never that kid. I just never, I like video games. I like coin-op video games, really. But I never saw the need to have them in my house and play them. And I even now to this day, I like watching video games played. But a lot of times playing them, it's like very few games that excite me. Fighting games, yeah, I love fighting games. Love fighting games. But, that's my genre. But, in the whole, I wouldn't buy a system. I wouldn't spend all that money buying a system to do that just to play a video game. I just wouldn't. It's not how I'd spend my hours. That's just me. Now with that said, I have bought, video games for my computer, but I haven't played and bought one in years. My computer really is a business computer now. I can tell you and now this is gonna make people laugh when I say this. The last game that I really played, like all the time on computer. Now wait for it, but you are gonna laugh. The last one that really got me excited to play was XCOM. And I'm not talking about the one that was just released. I'm talking about the original one. That's right. That, the first game and the second game, loved them both, thought they're great. And, that was probably the last time I really bought a video game and, really was on it, to me, it's a lot of time I spend on video games. And, I'm a game designer. I'm a game publisher. When I'm doing that, I could be playing games, or I could be working, or I could be getting a product out, or I could be doing that. So I don't like to get tied up in that kind of. I don't call it time suck, but it's a time suck. The internet is bad enough for me. Okay, geez, I can go on the internet, and look for stuff for days by accident. So I don't need to add, video games on top of that. So, but I am a huge fan of video game trailers. I love trailers. I just love trailers. Movie trailers, video game trailers. I think they're amazingly done. That's something. If I ever break out, and this one day will happen. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have a small company, maybe a large company. All we're gonna do is movie trailers and video game trailers. Because I think that kind of stuff is just cool as hell. And when done right, man, a trailer sells the game, just like the movie. A good trailer, bam, got me interested. I'm ready to go. Let me see more of that. And I think that's a skill. So, but like I said, I've rambled on to this. Adding content to a game doesn't devalue the game. It's just, it's tough as a publisher, and I'm sure many publishers will say this. You want to provide your fans with the best stuff. At the same time, you don't want to overburden your fans with stuff coming out all the time, but it's kind of hard not to, because the fan base will say, okay, what's the next big thing you got? Whatever you put out, yeah, that's great. What's the next big thing? They want to know what the next big thing is. Your next big thing, great example, Paizo. Every year Paizo releases new product, the 4 hardcovers, I think 3 hardcovers a year now, I think 3 hardcovers. And a bestiary is normally, what people want to see, but they want more monsters. But I'll tell you, I don't understand why people want more monsters. It's like, how many monsters are enough monsters? And people are like, oh, there's never enough monsters. Look, it gets to everything is good to a point. Look, there are 4 bestiaries, 4 bestiaries. There is the Tomb of Horrors, which is ridiculously huge. do you really need a fifth one? I mean, do you need a fifth one? I don't know. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. But some people are like, yeah, more monsters. That was the reason that initially I thought about doing a monster book. Then I heard that Green Ronin was going to be doing their template book, and I was like, well, there's no need for me to do a monster book. You know, it's like if they're doing a template book and it's already tons of monster books, there's no need for me to do a monster book. I think if you're going to do a monster book, it has to be something so unique and so important that it's kind of like necessary. Dreamscar Press is doing their bestiary, but it's for Sonic monsters. Well, that makes sense. That's good to have. That makes total sense. I think NeoExodus, we have a couple signature monsters, but not a lot. And the reason being, it's like you can find another monster for that, or you can make a monster like that doing this and this. So I don't want to add monsters to add monsters. I want to add monsters that are interesting, that you go, oh, you couldn't have made that monster this way. The Chanting Queen, great example. That was a very unique type of monster. There wasn't a monster like that at all. So, that's why we made it. The Annihilation Sphere. It's kind of the living spell concept gone crazy. There wasn't really a good way to do that when we first made it, so that's why we made it like that. That's always been kind of my theory, is let's make something because it's missing from the game. But let's not make something that we could already make with the tools of the game. I mean, some people just like new monsters. Oh, it's a new monster. Well, you can take a stat block of any monster and just change the idea. Like, what do hell, let's just say I don't use a dragon, but that's kind of obvious. Well, no, a dragon's actually a good idea. We've got a dragon. Well, instead of making a big floppy dragon, change it to a big woolly mammal of some type. Maybe not a woolly mammoth, but a woolly mammal, something big, or even a large elephant or something like that. And instead of shooting fire, it shoots cold, and it's a stat block. The stat block is just numbers. How you visualize a thing makes it better. Sean K. Reynolds has a book called By the Numbers. It's a prime example of that. Anybody who plays at this point, any experienced guy who plays at this point can basically look at a monster, know their stat block, in and out, boom. They know what to do every time when they see the monster, bam. And I think that becomes a problem because you can't really surprise people with stuff. I mean, you can, and it takes skill to do so. But it can be tough. It can be very tough to do. So changing how things visually appear, that's a good way to do it. An orc is an orc is an orc. But if you change maybe their habitat, or maybe you change the look about them, instead of them being pig face, you make them more wolf-like, or this-like, or that-like. So the stat block is important, but it isn't the central piece to the creature or monster you're creating. And I think a lot of people, don't really do that. They want more. They just want more, and I get it. It's good to want more. I'm more of the vein of give me the toolbox to do whatever I want. That's a prime example of why I like Obsidian Apocalypse. Of why I like the Advanced Race Guide, how we did our own version of it. It's here are the tools, here's how we make the things, you go make your own things. And here's a list of cool things that's already pre-made that you can have, but here's all the rules to make your own cool things. And I think that, to me, excites me to no end. I mean, the new class book that's going to be coming out, that you can make your own classes, that's exciting to me. That's exciting, because it adds balance to the game. It gets people and there's a lot of people aren't good mechanic people. They don't know game mechanics very well. They're not very good at them, but they want to get better. These kind of books are great for them. They teach them how to work the system, what you should be paying attention to, that kind of stuff. And it is a skill. It's a skill set. It's an actual skill set. It's a muscle like anything else. You got to keep working at it, getting it strong, and when it gets strong enough, boom, you can do some real damage. That's just, that's how I see it. But I mean, I'll tell everybody, I'm far from being like a good writer. I'm a good idea guy. I'm writing, oh my God, no. God, no. No, I make pretty pictures. You want your layout to look great? Come see me. You want me to write you a novel? Come see somebody else. But my novel will be horrible. But I can jam together some really good ideas that work well. I may not be able to write them down or get the proper grammar connection, That's not my strong point. My strong point is making stuff cool. And that in itself is a skill. I mean, if it's cool, people want to play it, And then, that's another little issue we had. We're talking about, what's more important? Is it official or is it cool? If it's official and boring, what does it matter? If it's renegade and cool, what does it matter? Play the cool thing. Always play the cool thing. Why wouldn't you want to play the cool thing? Some people get all caught up on, oh, it's official. I only play with official supplements. And for Pathfinder, that always makes me laugh the most. It's like Pathfinder is probably one of the most freelancer friendly, I guess the term we're going to use, freelancer friendly of RPG companies out there. I mean, hell, man, more than half the guys who freelance for them have their own either design studio, work freelance for other design studios. So it's funny to me when people are like, oh, I won't read that. Oh God, I read everything from I read everything from Nick Logue, but I can't read that. It's not official. It's like, did Nick Logue all of a sudden drop off because he worked for a third-party publisher? He's not going to give you quality work. I'm willing to bet you that the third-party work is even more interesting than the typical Pathfinder stuff, but you got to be able to flex it in a way he doesn't get to use to do it. I mean, it's just like, come on, man. It's interesting to me that people are getting in that whole little thing. And I think it's just another piece of it. I think, putting out quality products and putting out well-done products and not having bloat are very, very difficult. We could go back to the days where, adventures, a lot of people were doing adventures, and maybe just do streamlined adventures. Maybe just, okay, we're not going to have, like the adventure pass that come out from Paizo. Every one that comes out, you're going to get 6 new monsters. Well, maybe we don't do new monsters. Maybe we just add just more cool stuff to it. I mean, I know why they add new monsters. It's not a surprise, but at the same time, it's like, hey, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just make an adventure. Maybe we make an adventure a little bit longer. Maybe we add a sidetrack to it or something. We use those, would be 12 pages altogether for something else. Yeah. That's just me. I think it's hard to develop sellable products, build a fan base, and do all this stuff without there being bloat. And I think people have got the mindset that bloat is a bad thing. I mean, there's too many rules. Well, yeah, there's too many rules of life. Come on, you want to talk about rules bloat? Try life. That's the ultimate rules bloat. I'm just saying. Oh, well, I'm almost halfway to the comic book store. What was I talking about? Stuff for NeoExodus, yeah, and all the stuff I'm doing with NeoExodus. I really am enjoying that. I'm right now. I'm finishing up the alternate racial traits. Who's gotten some so far that I know? The Sinians have definitely gotten one more, 2 more. I think definitely 1 more, if not 2 more. The Gebbet have gotten a whole bunch because we didn't give them any in the original. Which, I mean, looking back now, it's like, what was I thinking? We didn't give them any. I think we gave them 3 so far. I'm trying to give them at least 4. Everybody's trying to get at least 4. That's my mindset, except for the Nuka, because you have to pick any 2, so they've got enough variables you can get. But this doesn't look good. I'm stopping, and the stoplight is like half a mile down the road. Why are we stopping? Why am I afraid? Oh, that's not good. I'm sure people are pulling out of the way, so maybe it's an accident. Oh, this isn't good. So, adding those kind of traits, and that's something, when we first did the book, some had more, some had less. I think 4 to 6 is a reasonable amount. That I think is a great way to get really unique versions of races. That was an innovative idea. I must admit, that was a really innovative idea that Paizo pulled off with that. I like it a lot, and the more I see it, the more I like it. I think it's such a cool way to make races even cooler. Just a great idea. Just a great idea. I've always said, man, that was a great idea. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. I have a feeling I have to get over. I think there's an accident because I've seen cop lights. Yep, this isn't good. This is not good. Yep, there's an accident, and of course in my lane. Yeah, and it's a big fire truck in front of me. Oh, great. So let's see if I can get over why I'm not going to curse myself out, because people in Florida like to drive like maniacs. I understand that too. And I will see what's going on, so I can get even more upset that I'm stuck in traffic just trying to go to the comic store. Yes, this is my angry face, if you're wondering. This is what my angry face looks like. It's more perturbed face, but it's still kind of angry. Let's see what's going on. Let's see the damage here. Okay, got a big fire truck across 2 lanes on a 3-lane road. You got the sheriff's department, and you got the police department, and you got someone's BMW, which is looks like, and a turned around, seriously turned around Honda Civic it must have run into. So that's interesting. And now we're back to normal. Didn't look like anybody was hurt, if you're wondering. No one was hurt. The paramedics were on there, so everybody's all good. So, yeah, traits I was talking about. So, also what I added was also height, weight, and age charts. Now, personally, I'm never one of those people who get that whole thing. It's like, it's important, but it's not really that important. You just make up the weight you want. It's not a big thing. But some people are very, very big on that. Some people were highly upset that I left that out, and I didn't realize that how serious they were. So I started looking at some of the reviews and hearing some of the feedback, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know it was that important. But people want to have that kind of information. So what I did was a smart thing. I went and got that information. I've added it to everybody's race. I got to still finish off a couple more, but like we're moving in the right direction. So if everything works out well, I'm hoping maybe this book will be done, in time by Christmas. I'll probably be done before, but since we have a Kickstarter going on, I've got some other stuff I got to work on. It's a big piece. It's a big piece. Plus, we told everybody, if you bought the original one, we're going to give you this updated one for free. We're giving you more content for it for free. And they're like, as long as you buy the original one from between now and between whenever and we first started and when we put up the new one, you'll get a copy. It'll be updated for free. It's going to be at all the major sites. You don't have to do anything if you've already bought it. It's not a big issue. You're ready to go. I just think, like I said, the book got a 4-star review when it came out. When Enza guy put it out, he said this could have been a 5-star review and seal. And I was kind of like, I wish we would have done more with it. And this was like 3 years ago. Yeah, like 2007 when first was the first one. So 2010ish, maybe 4 years ago. We've updated it. We've the original first one. Yeah, the first one was one thing. Now this one was a solid, good second step. I think this last ultimate version will be the best version of it. I'm gonna probably be even taking the name down. Like the full name of the game is NeoExodus: A House Divided, but I might just be calling it NeoExodus Ultimate Edition, and that's it. That's the Ultimate Edition. Boom. Cut out the middleman. A House Divided was an important phrase that I came up with, kind of because how I name books. And I've always believed, like, White Wolf was a good example. It's blank the blank, It's the name of the thing and then something else that gets connected to it. For example, Haven, City of Violence. Geez, I wonder what it's about. Well, I've told you it's a city. I told you there's violence, and the name of the city is called Haven. So there's 3 little things I told you there. NeoExodus, A House Divided. Well, A House Divided, what's that from? Well, that's a quote from, A House Divided Cannot Stand. Oh, okay, there must be some kind of conflict or something. I don't know. Is it things like that you do to try to trigger people to, get over. Try to trigger people to buy your products like this. All kinds of cool things you do. Just something to think about when you're naming your products. That's a lot of fun. All right, it's been almost 25 minutes. I need to get off this thing. We had a car thing, and I went on a tangent about other stuff. But when is that ever not what I do? All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later.